This is Radharasa Sudhanidhi. So this is a very nice verse here. We're going to describe, this will take a few days, and I realize that there's certain topics, time, Kaladeshan Patra. So when we're at Radhakund, maybe the people have the adhikar to be there and to hear Harikatha there, everything is special, so then special topics are given there. So we want to read from Radharasa Sudhanidhi, but we want to be very selective what we study here, because there's certain, like in college physics class, you can't teach 10-year-old kids because they can't follow. So with that, now for the next few days, we're going to discuss the glories of Radharani's feet, her Charna Chinna Mahima, because all these classes that we're giving at this time period in studying of Radharasa Sudhanidhi are the Radha Guna Mahima. So the Radha Charna Chinna, the marks on the bottom of Radharani's feet, and some pastimes related to that we'll try to discuss from this verse. I think it's 114 in Radharasa Sudhanidhi. But before, we don't have enough copies, but we'll pass out some. Anyone who plans to be here, most people will be here for the next couple of days or whatever. There's a book in Hindi. This is the book. It's called Shri Shri Radha Govinda Dhyan Amritya. This is the nectar of meditating. All right, the nectar of meditating on Radha Govinda, because it talks not only about meditating on their feet, but their forms, Rup Dhyan. So this is a very nice little book. So you can open those and pass around. We've been discussing in Radharani Sutta, we were discussing verse 30 about, of course, to remind you, in verse 30 we were discussing how beautiful Radharani looks. Pitarana chavimananta tadil latabam pradana raga madaviva lacharu murtim premasparam brajamahipati tan mahishyor govindavan manasitam niradami radam. This verse we were describing for a few days, the beauty of Radharani, how beautiful she looks when she's cooking for Krishna, his breakfast in the kitchen, and Mother Yashoda's house in Nandagram. So there's the whole Leela, nice Leela described here, summarized from Govinda Leelamrita, of how Radharani is proceeding. In the morning she leaves her house in Barsana when she stays with her mother, or Yavat when she's staying with her mother-in-law. As now, often wives will go home and visit their parents. I don't know in the city so much, but in the villages often the wives return to their native village and stay some especially when they're pregnant, they often go for 8 or 9 months and live with their mother, especially around the time of delivery. At least I've seen in the village in Radhakund. So Radharani she has a schedule. She stays 3 months with her mother-in-law, and then she takes a 3-month vacation. That's a nice idea. And she stays 3 months with her mother. And then she goes back 3 months with her mother-in-law, and like this. So she rotates, spends the year with 2 times visiting. 6 months with her mother and 6 months with her mother-in-law. So this is actually the formula for anyone to maintain sanity. So when Radharani, she's walking in the morning at about 6 o'clock, 6:30 in the morning, she walks about 20 minutes from her house through the footpaths, through Terrakodamba and on to Nandagram. She looks very beautiful walking with her girlfriends. She's wearing a very colorful silk sari on her beautiful body and kajal on her eyes. Sundari Sakhi Sange Koriche Payan Sangha Patambare Jampakat Sabtanu Kajare Ujora Nayana. Pearls cannot compare to the splendor of beautiful white teeth. And whenever she laughs, jewels fall from her mouth. Her laughing is like the raining of jewels. In other words, it's a beautiful poetic analogy that Radharani's laughter is more valuable and more attractive and more colorful than even gems and jewels. Gems and jewels are colorful and they're valuable, isn't it? And attractive. So Radharani's laughing is a very interesting analogy. It's beautiful and colorful laughing and valuable laughing. It's the supreme wealth of Krishna to hear Radharani's laughing. It entertains his ears and fills his heart with the greatest happiness. So whenever Radharani laughs, Krishna collects the jewels and stores them in the treasure box of his heart. Radhe Shyam. And her palms of her hands and her foot soles resemble the beautiful natural reddish color of red lotus petals. And her ankle bells are jingling. When Radharani is entering the town gate at Nandishvar Hill, Shyam Sundar is actually, in one sense, waiting for her, but he's actually, because the Goshala on top of the hill is his palace, and the Goshala, Nanda Baba's Goshala, is of course at Terrakodamba and other nearby, is at the bottom of the hill, because you can't bring 9 lakhs of cows to the top of the hill, so 9 lakhs of cows are in the valley at the bottom of the hill. So there's gates as you go to Dig Gate, or you go to Kamyavan and you see these gates. So you have India Gate, and in the old cities they all walls around them and entrance gates. It's the same thing in Nandagram. So Krishna, he would pass through the entrance gate to go to the Goshala and milk the cows and come back. So in one sense he was there doing some duty. So he finished milking the cows and wrestling and playing with his friends, and he was on his way back to the palace. But the boy said, listen, Krishna said, listen, why don't you go back, go to your homes, and we'll meet after breakfast. So everyone said, bye. Krishna said, bye. So Krishna's walking, and he saw all his friends were gone, so he sat down by the town gate. And I wonder why. Because he knew that very soon passing through the town gate would be someone that he likes very much, who was coming to cook his breakfast in his house in his mother's kitchen. So here he is. But he's pretending that he's just sitting there, and maybe Madhamangal's with him or Subal, and oh, look at that Tota. Oh, he's hanging upside down in the tree. Oh, look at that. Oh. Yeah. Well, look at those monkeys over there. Yeah, look at those. Subal, look at those monkeys. Yeah. He's looking towards Yavat. No. Kotai go, prema mahi, radhe radhe. Kotai go, prema mahi, radhe radhe. Ashta Shaki Shiromani Radhe Radhe. Ashta Shaki Shiromani Radhe Radhe. Kotai ko prema mahi Radhe Radhe. Kano mano mohini radhe radhe. Kano mano mohini radhe radhe. Kano mano mohini radhe radhe. Kano mano mohini. Vishabhanu Nandini radhe radhe. Vishabhanu Nandini radhe radhe. Radhe radhe. Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe. Kotai ko prema mahi Radhe Radhe. Kotai ko prema mahi Radhe Radhe. Kotai ko prema mahi Radhe Radhe. Kano mano mohini Radhe Radhe. Kano mano mohini Radhe Radhe. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Kotai ko prema mahi Radhe Radhe. Prema mahi Radhe. Prema mahi Radhe. Karuna mahi Radhe. Karuna mahi Radhe. Karuna mahi Radhe. Karuna mahi. Karuna mahi Radhe. Karuna mahi Radhe. Karuna mahi Radhe. Kripa karo Radhe. Kripa karo Radhe. Kripa karo. Kripa karo Radhe. Kripa karo Radhe. Radhe 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 Radhe. Radhe 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 Radhe. Krishna, Radha Kahan, Radha Kahan, you are Premamai. You are filled with the most intense mood of dedication and love for me. Where are you? Where are you? He's waiting eagerly. His neck is extended. Where are you? I can't bear another minute without seeing you, hearing your ankle bells, speaking to you. Where? When are you coming? When? Hurry, hurry. So he's waiting anxiously. His heart is beating. Boom, 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 boom. Sitting by the town gate. He's staring at the footpath with unblinking eyes. As Radharani approaches the town gate, streams of sweetness are gushing from her limbs. Pitarona chabim. It's Ananta Tadulavam. Which is a mixture, this sweetness is a mixture of red and yellow, which shines more brightly than innumerable lightning strikes. Srimati Radha's body is overwhelmed by symptoms of ecstasy when she sees Shyamla Sundar standing in Sri Balitam, Sri Bangalalitam, sees him standing by the town gate, waiting for her. She turns to her Sakhis and says, "Hey Sakhi, I can't walk anymore. My legs aren't working. There are big pebbles on the road." The Sakhis then giggle and reply, "Sakhi, are you sure? Are those pebbles on the road or in your heart?" It's the pebbles in your heart which are causing you difficulty in moving forward, because your heart is trembling with anticipation just by seeing the beautiful form of Shyam Sundar. And the trembling of your is Radhika's form, when ecstatic emotions like bashfulness and Now both of them are directly seeing the object of their meditations. Before they were only seeing, Radha was seeing Krishna in their heart and mind, and Krishna was seeing Radha in his heart and mind while he was pining his time in separation. And now Krishna is having sakshat darshan of his Lord, of his Swamini. And Radha is having sakshat darshan of Krishna by the town gate. Like sometimes lovers say, I'll meet you by the town gate. I'll meet you in the park. I'll meet you in Deer Park. All right. What time? 7 o'clock. All right. Oh, Mom, my girlfriends and I, we're going for a short walk in Deer Park. Okay, come back soon. Oh, cha? Radha then enters the house of Nanda Maharaj, and as soon as Mother Yashoda sees Radharani, her heart blooms up with joy. She rushes out to greet Srimati and firmly embraces her with great motherly love. Tears of love stream from her eyes, and she kisses Radhika as if she's her own daughter. In response, Radhika simply offers obeisances at the feet of Yashoda and then at the feet of Balaram's mother Rohini. Mother Yashoda bends down and lifts up Radhika once more, and she smells her head and fondles and kisses her again and again. Therefore, in this verse, it says that Yashoda loves Radharani as much as she loves Govinda. Srimati Radha, her heart melts because of Mother Yashoda's intense love. And with a faltering voice, Radhika says to Yashoda, Ma, I am yours. Yashoda caresses her, Srimati's head, and blesses her. You know, this kind of thing, goes like this, caressing the head, like you hold your... Yashoda tenderly holds Radharani's head in her arm, and she blesses her. May you live 100 years, and may you always give joy to my eyes and mind by coming to my house. Radhika's girlfriends and maidservants, they offer respects to Mother Yashoda's feet, and they are treated with the same affection as Radhika. And then Radha and her entourage of Sakhis are decorated with flowers from the wish-fulfilling vine of Mother Yashoda's motherly love. After Srimati, which is Radha, cooks for Krishna, then Nanda Maharaj showers her with as much parental affection as he has for Krishna. Thus, Prabodhananda Saraswati concludes his prayer by saying, may this Radhika, this beautiful form of Radhika, always be manifest in my heart whenever I meditate upon the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki. Radharani Sudhanidhi, the marks on Radharani's feet. But Jiva Goswami has one discussion where someone challenged, he said, seems that in Vrindavan, this is Madhurya Dham and Madhurya Purushottam, the sweetest form of the Lord, and all his pastimes are saturated with this intimacy and charming sweetness and familiarity and equality and even feelings of superiority between the Lord and his servants and devotees. So therefore, when we hear description that there are 19 marks on the bottom of Radharani's feet and Krishna's feet, and it seems to be a show of Aishvarya or majesty or grandeur or a touch of the Vaikuntha atmosphere. And this is Nara Leela in Vrindavan. This is Krishna's Leelas to appear as if they're just like human beings, dancing and singing and playing in the water and all these pastimes, swinging and forest picnics and so many wonderful human-like pastimes and human-like appearance. Krishna's not using a chakra and carrying a club and all these things. Just a turban, he wears a pugri and a dhoti, he doesn't even wear a shirt. You imagine Vishnu or Ramachandra or Vishnu appearing without a shirt in the Ram Dava, whatever they call it, Dabar. But anyway, the assembly hall of Ramachandra. So obviously he always has the finest of clothes, the most opulent of dress. Lord Krishna wears a simple dhoti, doesn't even wear a shirt. And some people say that's because he's too poor, can't afford a shirt. Sometimes the critics, they say he's too poor, he's just in the village, he has no money to buy a long sleeve shirt, so he just wears a chadar every day. And not only that, because he hangs around with animals all the time, he doesn't have any intelligence, so he can't figure out how to button his shirt. Sometimes people criticize like that. He has pashu buddhi. Pashu means animal, buddhi means intelligence, because he's associated with animals all day. So in fact, the gopis accuse him of that sometimes. When they're berating him, they say, "Listen, go run behind the cows," because when they play. And they tell Krishna, they say, "Listen, whenever we play games that require some intelligence, you always lose. But whenever we play power games, you always win. When we have water fights, you always win. But whenever we play dice, or whenever we play chess, or these kinds of games, word games, sometimes they have word games where Radharani and Krishna speak riddles. What does this mean when there's something like this?" And Krishna can never figure out what Radharani says. And then Krishna says some riddle, and Radharani says, "Oh, that's describing this." Because you take on the qualities of your association, like a crystal. So you're associating with cows, so you have a cow brain. Pashu buddhi. Of course we can't imitate. This, for us, it's Uttama Shloka. We glorify the Lord with the choices of Sanskrit poems and verses of the Mahajans. But the gopis are his most dearly beloved. They can do anything. But this is the intimacy of their exchange to that extent. They can call Krishna bull brain, animal brain, pashu buddhi. So let's hear this verse, 114. Kadasamani kinkini valyanupura prolasan mahamadura mandala anbhuti vilasa rasotsave hapi pranayano brihad puja krihita kanto vayam param nijara sheshri charana lakshma vikshamahe. The gopis are speaking here. They're saying, although this is describing a scene at the rasa dance, although we gopis or Sakhis are being embraced around the neck by the strong arm of our beloved Krishna in the very sweet and wonderful Rasa Mandala. And while we're dancing and spinning in the circle in such an intimate connection or embrace of the Lord, our jeweled bells of our sashes are ringing, and our armlets and our delightful ankle bells. All this is going on, but nevertheless, what are we doing? We, the Sakhis, are only looking at the marks on our Risheshri's lotus feet on the ground. So it's inconceivable, of course. But this is a glimpse of a scene from the Rasa dance. And as you know, it's Krishna Gopi. There's different arrangements in the Rasa dance. Sometimes Krishna dances alone, sometimes with Radharani, sometimes with different Sakhis, or all the different Sakhis moving from one to the other. Then there's different names for those dances. And can you imagine, here's the Sakhis, they're dancing.
Okay. Thank you. Well, thank you very much.
Praise the Lord. Our jeweled bells of our sashes are ringing, and our armlets and our delightful ankle bells. All this is going on, but nevertheless, what are we doing? We, the Sakhis, are only looking at the marks on our Risheshwari's lotus feet on the ground. So it's inconceivable, of course. But this is a glimpse of a scene from the Rasa dance. And as you know, as Krishna Gopi, there's different arrangements in the Rasa dance. Sometimes Krishna dances alone, sometimes with Radharani, sometimes with different Sakhis, or all the different Sakhis moving from one to the other. Then there's different names for those dances. And can you imagine, here's the Sakhis, they're dancing directly with Krishna. It says that his arm is around their neck. This is a conjugal expression. This is Madhurya Ras, lover and beloved, embracing around the neck. And are they relishing? Oh, this is so wonderful, feeling Krishna's embrace, or the intimacy with Krishna, physical contact, or whatever. We're feeling so happy. We're so honored. We're so special. They're not even thinking of that. They're as they're dancing around the ground on the Rasamandala on the ground. What are they looking at? Are they looking at Krishna? They're dancing and looking. And usually when someone dances with someone, they look at the person, isn't it? You don't dance with someone. I mean, it's a little, when you think about it, they're dancing, cheek to cheek, as they say, whatever. They're dancing with Krishna, and they're looking at the ground. Not because they're shy, obviously not. They wouldn't be out on the banks of the Yamuna at 1 o'clock in the morning with somebody that's not their husband, if they're very shy. They're all married, Gopavadu. And certainly not shy, nor are they looking at their own footprints, like, wow, how am I dancing? Or maybe they would be looking at Krishna's footprints to see his marks on his feet, or how much his feet are being impressed in the ground, with them. And they may look at Krishna's footprints when they're dancing with Krishna, and they're looking at his footprints in the ground, how much they go in the ground. Then they look, and then the next time they spin around, they look at the footprints of Krishna with another gopi to make a comparative study, because there's one Krishna with this gopi, another Krishna with that gopi. They say, oh, Krishna's footprints with that gopi, they're going deeper in the ground. I think her love is heavier than mine. I think her love is more weighty than mine. It's weighing Krishna's heart down, so his feet are going deeper in the sands of the Rasamandala. Oh, I have to increase the depth of my love. I have to increase the weight of my love. And then they radiate more love and more serving mood while they're dancing through their heart and through their bodies and movements. Then they glance at the ground. Next time they spin around, oh look, Krishna's feet have sunk more in the ground. But no! They're not doing that. Who are they looking at? They're looking at Radharani's feet. She's like, in one sense, like the competitor, they're dancing. Hey, wait a minute. And because they're only dancing with Krishna because it pleases Radharani. Even the Sakhis who have They're nayakas, they have intimate relationship with Krishna. They're simply kaya-vyo or expansions of Radharani, and they represent her different bhavas, or the asta bhavas of Ashtasakis are the different 8 bhavas of a heroine. And Radharani's giving different flavors. It's just like you have, one ice cream and you mix you have vanilla and you mix different flavors. It becomes butterscotch, this, that, the other thing, with mixing of different flavors with a base of vanilla ice cream. So the base is Radharani's Mahabhav, and then the flavors that are different sakis, which are expanded from Radharani, with representing her different desires to serve and please Krishna, with different nuances and flavors of rasa and bhav. Kalahantarita bhav, and then there's Sajika bhav, and Swadhina Bhatrika bhav, and there's these Proshita bhav. There's different bhavas that are described in Ujjvala Nilamani. But all this is going on, and Radharani's pleased by all that, but the gopis also have their independence, their free will, and what they want. Okay, Radharani wants this, so we do that. But I want this, so I'm doing this. As Prabhupada said, he said, my Guru's wish was that I would preach in the Western countries. So after fulfilling that wish, I felt satisfactory to a satisfactory degree. I had a wish to preach in India. So after fulfilling my Guru's wish in a very smashing, successful way, I returned to India to fulfill my desire to preach in India, which he initiated when he started his very preaching mission in Jhansi in 1954, League of Devotees. But somehow Krishna didn't make it very successful because he wanted him to carry out his Guru's order first, because if that became a smashing success, I'm sure if it was big, he would also go to the West. Anyway, it's only speculation. But Krishna arranged that, so then Prabhupada went to the West, fulfilled that order all over the world, and came back and established Krishna consciousness here in a grand way, which we're all, let's say, relishing, appreciating that. So the same way, Prabhupada's personal desire to preach, his Guru's wish to preach, and of course it's the same desire, it's Gauranga's desire to preach and spread Krishna consciousness everywhere. So Radharani's desire was that everyone dance and please Krishna, and the Sakis are doing it, but they have their desire to look at Radharani's feet. So there's another translation here. Because the first word of this verse is kada. Of course, we have a discussion of what kada, which means when. Because there's two things going on here. Saraswati Thakur, or Saraswati Prabhupada Saraswati Pad, he's there in his Siddhadeha, in Leela Pravesh. He's entered the meditation. In his meditation, he's entered the Leela in his meditation, and he's seeing it, so then he's describing, because you can't write this particular verse unless you've seen it directly. It's not something to be read about in books or to be painted. He's actually revealed here from his own direct experience. And then after that vision or sporti entrance, that Leela disappears, and he returns to his sadhaka roop, which is his form here in this world. Then he's feeling, when I see that, that's his closing. He's seen this wonderful experience, just like Narada Muni. When Narada Muni, in the first canto of Bhagavatam, he was granted darshan by Lord Narayan. And Lord Narayan, he said, I'm showing you myself once, but you'll not see me again in this life. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he gives a purport to that verse. When Lord Narayan said, I'm only going to show you myself once, and then Vishwanath, as he often does, he has a dialogue in the purport between Narada Muni and Lord Narayan, which is not in the verse in the Bhagavatam, but he's also seen that by his own vision, Vishwanath. Narada says, but my Lord, but why only once? I want to see you again and again. Can I see you again? I want to see you again. Why only once? There was some interaction and more dialogue, but the Bhagavatam doesn't. And Lord Narayan gives a long discussion there about why he's doing that and this and that. So this Prabhupada Saraswati, he's also praying when, kada, he says when, nice jeweled waist bells, bangles, anklets, decorated by the best of ornaments, the great circle of dancing sweetness, astounding pastimes and enjoying the Rasa festival. Although we Sakis are dancing with our beloved Sri Krishna's strong arms about our necks, still we will only gaze and look towards the footprints of our Risheshwari. So then he's seeing that, because he's also, Prabhupada Saraswati is also one of those Sakhis. He has a sarup in the spiritual world as Tunga Vidya Sakhi. One of the Asta Sakhis in Gorganadesh Deepika describes that. Of course, it's also said in other places that Prakeshwara Pandit is Tunga Vidya Sakhi, and that may be, both are possible. Double sarups are also there. Maybe tomorrow we'll just have a class on Radharasa Sudhanidhi. Shri Radharasa Sudhanidhi ki jai. Kadastamari Kinkani Valaya Nupura Prolasan Maha Madhura Mandala Adbhuta Vilasa Rasotsave Happy Pranayano Brihad Bhuja Grihita Kanto Vayam Param Nija Rasheshwari Charan Lakshma Viksha Mahe. Although this is the Sakhi speaking, to announce to the world, it's quite loud, to announce to the world the intense love and affection and attachment they have for Srimati Radharani. There's no jealousy here among these ladies. There's no rivalry. There's no backbiting, criticizing, fault-finding, like we find among men and women of this world. It's mutual appreciation. And moreover, the Sakhis are totally infatuated with Radharani because they're her Sakhis, they're her friends, but their friendship is mixed with dasya, dasi bhav, Sakhi bhav, girlfriend, but they're in a humble mood of serving and supporting and assisting and helping increase the happiness and pleasure of Radharani. And even sometimes they have a mood of vatsalya, of protecting Radharani and feeding her and nourishing her. And some of them are a little older than Radharani. Lalita Sakhi, she is 27 days older than Radharani. Tunga Vidya is a little bit older. Some are the same age. Vishaka Sakhi is the same age. Sometimes devotees ask the question that if we are practicing Raganuga Bhakti, or at least interested in this line of Braj Bhakti, in the mood or sentiments of the manjaris, like Rupa Manjari, Rupa Raghunatha Pade Hoibi Akuti, Rupa Manjari, who is Rupa Goswami. If we're following a path, we're trying to attain, or we have some attraction. We've heard about Krishna's Leelas in different rasas, and we're specifically attracted to Krishna's Leelas. This is an example. We're attracted to Krishna's Leelas with his beloved gopis. This is Madhurya, Ras, conjugal love, man-woman love, husband-wife. And that's a whole area of service with so many all ladies only, of course, spiritual ladies' bodies, and they're all Sakhis. There's 5 categories of Sakhis, and one category of Sakhi is called Pran Sakhi, or they're also called Nitya Sakhis, and they're generally affectionately called Manjaris or Kinkaris. Kinkar is also a masculine word. Kinkar means to serve. So Manjaris are also Sakhis. They're not some kind of weird, different kind of human being. There's Sakhis and there's this creature called Manjaris. It's just another way of saying a slightly younger Sakhi who doesn't have any vilas with Krishna, generally, or at least complete vilas with Krishna. So then one has developed that interest and desire after reading about pastimes. Then he asked the question, well, there's so many members and so many Nitya Parishads in Krishna's Leela, and they are described in various shastras. Radha Krishna Ganadesh Deepika by Rupa Goswami and Stavavali by Raghunath Das Goswami, especially than other books, Govinda Lilamrita, etc. And they give very elaborate descriptions about many devotees, gopas and gopis and sakas, and do we have to, and the question is raised, do we have to memorize and think about and meditate on the particulars of all these different associates and servants of the Lord? And the answer is no. But we have to become very familiar with the key players in the pastimes within the rasa that we're interested in. For example, if someone is interested in Madhurya Ras with the hope of attaining a gopi bhav in Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada, of course it's also told in many shastras, Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Laghu Bhagavatamrita and others, and also in some Upanishads, that the Jivatma, he can expand as many times as the Lord, because he's part of the Lord. Per the wish of the Lord. The difference is that he's not independent, but if the Lord wants him to expand, so therefore one jiva can have multiple sarups, like we have multiple identities. He can have a saka, a spiritual body, a siddhadeha as a coward boy. Hare Krishna. He can have a siddhadeha as a gopi, or he can have a siddhadeha as a saki, or he can have a siddhadeha as a house servant. He can have many, same jiva, have different sthayi bhavs and loving relationships with Krishna. Because sometimes there's heated debates among different God brothers, Srila Prabhupada's disciples. Srila Prabhupada's a coward boy. No! He's a coward girl. He's a saka. No, he's a saki. And so many, it's like BJP and Congress Party. So many people put articles on the net to prove that Prabhupada is a coward boy or a saka, and quote other God brothers saying the same. And then the opposition party, they rally a paper and then they throw that up on internet. No, it's definitely proven Prabhupada is a manjari. So-and-so said his guru is a manjari, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is a manjari, so usually you serve alongside of your manjari guru. But your guru can also be a saka, so then you serve in allegiance and underneath the agya of your saka guru, who can manifest two forms. So there's no reason, because many of these devotees that are arguing on internet, they're not familiar with the full gamut of Shastra, or no one is. But let's say they're not familiar with these particular Shastras which explain how the liberated soul can have multiple swarups. So that's in this particular dilemma, or debate rather, there is a solution that makes everyone happy. It's called win-win solution. Yes, you're right, Prabhupada is a saka. Yes, you're right, Prabhupada is a Saki Manjari, Nitya Saki, Pran Saki of Radharani. He's both. Oh, okay, war is over. We're going, instead of electing one prime minister, we're having two prime ministers. One representing Congress Party and one representing the opposition. So then everybody's happy. Divide the country in half, again. But it's not exactly a division, it's just to give you some idea. So we have to memorize, we should memorize, that's why they're given. Why do you think the acharyas are describing the type of dress Lalita Saki wears, or the kind of bhav she has? Madhya, or mridu bhav, or madhya bhav, or what her particular bhav is. And the decorations and the flowers in her hair, and something about her physical appearance, and her mental attitude, her mentality, her actions, and then her feelings, the type of bhava and sentiments that she represents. They're all given in Shastras. For what? For us. They're not given for them. they came and wrote about them, because all the acharyas, whenever Krishna and his associates come to this world, they come for multifarious purposes, but one of the purposes, and one of the primary purposes, among the many primary purposes, is to teach. Dhira Damodara is the Lita Sakhi. In Krishna Lila, she became he. Sakhi became Brahman, became Goswami, Dhira Damodara Goswami. And she / he is a teacher. And he's teaching Rasa Tattva to Raghunath Das Goswami and to Sanatana and Rupa, so many devotees in Puri. And that's his role. And of course then he's nourishing the most intimate confidential pastimes in the Gambhira Leela with Gauranga. So many roles he's playing. So this is the fact that when the Lord comes, he comes with his parishads, and by their activities they teach. Like Yudhisthira, he's teaching. For example, Yudhisthira is a Nitya Parishad. He's an eternally liberated soul with Krishna and Vaikuntha Krishna. And he is completely a moral person. He knows all the moral codes. So it appears in the Mahabharata that Yudhisthira gambled away his wife. And he lost Draupadi in a gambling match. But this is all Leela. This is a teaching. It's not a teaching for Yudhisthira. What is the actual purpose of this Leela? The Leelas of the Lord and the Leelas of the Lord's devotees who accompany him in his entourage. One of the purposes is the teaching aspect. There's different levels of consideration of the Lord's teachings and the Lord's Leela. Adhyatmik vichar, adhidhaitik vichar, and adhibhautika vichar. What is a Leela for him and his devotees? What are they doing in exchanging together? Krishna, because he's behind it, he arranged the gambling match and he arranged the whole thing. What is his intention and purpose? What does he want to draw from his devotees and relish? And then the other level is, what does he want to teach us by this pastime? There's no question of Yudhisthira becoming greedy for a gambling match or becoming forgetful, or there's no reason for Yudhisthira to forget the religious principles and throw away his wife over some pair of dice. His wife is his eternal wife, Draupadi, with 5 Pandavas. So the teaching is not for him, it's a ras between him and the Lord, he and the Lord, but the teaching is for us. What are we supposed to learn by this gambling away of his wife? Is that we should never do such a thing. Mahabharata is a book of ethics and morality, and then the essence or the sar of Mahabharata sar is Bhagavad Gita, Gita Upanishad, which is the paramarthic dharmic aspect. This is the Saddharma aspect of Mahabharata. This is the Jiva aspect. Here it's the Jiva Dharma. Jiva Dharma is described in Gita, which is a mere 700 verses, but that's the most important thing. Just like the body. The body has many parts, and it's very vast and big. It can be a big elephant's body, and so many bones and ears. But what's the most important part? Is the most important part very big? No. The Atma, the Jivatma, is the essential part and the most important part of any body or any living entity. And it's described, Kechagra Shata Sangrasya or something. It's 1/10,000th the tip of a hair in dimension. In other words, it's a way of saying you can't measure it, you can't see it, you can't weigh it, but it exists. Gita is only 700 verses out of 1 lakh. So what's the percentage? But it's the essence. And there is Jiva Dharma, all about the Dharma and Sanatana Dharma of the soul. And the rest of the Mahabharata is all Deha Dharma, morality, ethics, Grihastha Dharma, Brahmachari, Sannyas, Kshatriya, etc. Politics, diplomacy, proper actions of a proper diplomat and the improper actions of an improper diplomat. Right? So therefore, Yudhisthira is teaching. No human being should see. Yudhisthira came to teach. What did he came to teach? Does the teacher know the lesson he's teaching? Yes, he's got a PhD, so he's teaching you. Yudhisthira very well knows the lesson. He knows that gambling is against dharmic principles, it's immoral, unethical, and he would never in 1,000... So he came to teach, not himself, or not to learn a lesson about Dharma, because he's a Mahajan, he's a teacher of Dharma. He came to teach all of us. Listen, I'm showing you a good example of what not to do. See what I'm doing? I'm gambling away my wife, and see how much I'm suffering? But he was not suffering because he never was away from the Lord for 1 second. He was always connected to the Lord, even though he was banished. But so it's Leela for him and the Lord to relish each other, and for Krishna to meet him in Kamyavan and Vrindavan and come and save him and eat food from Draupadi's Akshay Patra and all these wonderful exchanges they had during exile. But the teaching is for us. Note, not at any time or any circumstance should any husband ever gamble, don't become addicted to gambling. It's one of the sinful activities, right? Eating, eating meat, fish, eggs, onions, garlic, intoxication, drugs, cigarettes, coffee, tea, etc. And then gambling, then illicit sex. So this lesson is teaching the gambling lesson. This is irreligious activity. This defeats the cause of religion. So here he's teaching gambling is bad. You get punished, you get exiled. You lose your wife, you lose your fame, your name, everything. But he didn't lose his wife, he didn't lose his name, his fame. This is all Leela. Why did he come here to teach it? He has to come from Vaikuntha to come down here to fall and gamble away his wife? It's nonsensical. He's not a conditioned soul under the 3 modes of nature. So this is the real purpose, the intention behind everything. And we're getting in more, it seems we're more in the Tattva groove and less into the Leela groove here. But this verse is describing how much the gopis, as we're hearing, they're looking at Radharani. So we gave a little summary, and we wrote the same summary, but I'm now going to read the summary of this Leela, which introduces and supports, or let's say the Leela background of this particular verse, where the gopis are being described. Krishna's strong arm is around their neck. They're dancing in the rasa dance. They're decorated very beautifully with waist bells and ankle bells, all tingling and jingling and everything, tinkling, jingling. It's a very beautiful scene. Very romantic setting in the middle of the night at 1 a.m. on the banks of Yamuna. But all their attention and all the Sakhi's intention is not on the pleasure that they're deriving, obviously, to be so intimately connected with the most beautiful person in the universe. The personification of beauty and love has his arm wrapped around me. Who could be more fortunate? But they're not extracting 1 drop of pleasure for their own happiness from Krishna, nor are they thinking even of Krishna. They're not thinking of themselves, they're not thinking of Krishna. Now what else could they? They're thinking of Radharani. And not only thinking of Radharani, but they're absorbed and captivated by her footprints. That's really captivation. It's one thing to be captivated by the visible, tangible form of a person. A man's form captivates a woman's appetite or thirst, and the same for a man, lusty or desirous man. But her footprints? Wow, look! That's that girl's footprints. Wow! I think she wears Adidas, or you say Adidas. She looks like Reeboks. Oh yeah, that looks like the pattern of Reeboks. Look at those lines on the ground, and look at that little ridge there. That's where it has arch support, and this is the hexabumps and this and that, or whatever they are, you know. Look at the symbols on these. Look at the symbols on the ground left by these Puma track shoes of my girlfriend. If you did that, they would come and lock you up. They'd throw you in a paddy wagon and take you to the psychiatric hospital. Ekdam Puggle. First class nutcase. Oh, my girlfriend's foot. Oh, Puma shoe prints. Oh man, you are gone. You are really gone. It's one thing to remember, this or that or something, but her shoe prints, you're really gone bonkers, buddy. But that's what the verse is saying. All the while, they're looking at the ground of the Rasa Mandala. So this is the power and glories of Rasheshwari's footprints, marks on her feet. So this verse is spoken from the perspective of the author's identity and form as a Sakhi, or a Nayaka, Tungavidya Sakhi, a heroine, who herself was dancing intimately with Rasheshwara Shamsundar in a blissful ras performed along the silvery soft sands along the banks of the Yamuna in Vrindavan. The damsels of Braj are dancing hand in hand. Nagari Radha and Nagari Raj Sri Krishna are spinning and whirling around the Rasa Mandala. The Manjaris and Sakhis are expertly playing different musical instruments like pakawaj, a mridanga, and jamfa. Jamfa is like a type of wampur, and finger cymbals, and they're playing some venas and all kinds of beautiful instruments to support and encourage the dancing. Many beautiful, sweet ragas and songs are being sung. Radha Madhav are dancing wonderfully together, looking like a lightning bolt, embracing a monsoon rain cloud. The divine couple, Radha Govinda Yugal, are showering all the Manjaris and Sakhis in attendance at the Ras Mandala with drops of their ambrosial love. The tinkling of all the gopis' bangles, waist bells and ankle bells are blending together as another musical instrument to enhance the sweetness of Murlidhara's flute song. Madhava's mind is becoming mesmerized by how sweetly Radhika's bangles, waist bells and ankle bells are jingling along with the rhythm of the dance. There can be no more beautiful and attractive Leela Bhagavan than this, sweeter than sweet dancing pastime of Radha and Krishna in Braj. Radha and Krishna's Ras Leela Ki Jai. So before discussing the phrases of the verse, and different words and what they mean and what they represent, and how we should meditate on the different aspects of this verse, if we're inclined towards this destiny of serving in the rasa dance and serving in all the wonderful pastimes, we're going there. This is the prayojan tattva. This is the goal, param gati. The goal of sadhana bhakti is priti, bhav, prem. Prem means what? Is prem some static entity? The goal is prem. And you're going here and there and someone says, where's prem, where's prem? There's prem. There's some blackboard, some black slate, and on the blackboard it says P-R-E-M. And then someone says, yes, I've been searching and trying to attain prem life after life. Yes, this is it, prem. Acha. Now what I do? Well, you just look at it. Oh, yes, prem. This is well worth all my endeavor. Now stare at the blackboard and see the word prem. That's not it. It's quite an exciting and multi-dimensional experience. It's full of the variety and color and clothing and music and friendship and laughter and crying and everything. All the full gamut of physical and metaphysical and emotional experiences we have in this world, but magnified to the umpteenth degree. Millions of times more purity, millions of more times sweetness, millions of more times happiness and ecstatic joy than any experience we could ever imagine in this mundane material world, in these limited temporary material bodies. Everyone has a body, but it's a spiritual body. Spiritual laughter, spiritual crying, spiritual dancing, singing, and the spiritual abode. This is the goal of bhakti. This is not Gyan Marg or Yoga Marg, some dry powers waiting for us at the end of the line, or some static, stationary position fixed in Vaikuntha in some bungalow in GK1 for the rest of eternity. There's sections in Vaikuntha. There's GK1 Vaikuntha, GK2, Friends Colony Vaikuntha, Servants Colony, Friends Colony, Maids Colony, different colonies of Vaikuntha Vasis. No, we're going to Goloka Vrindavan, the land of the cows. We don't hear about cows in Vaikuntha. Obviously they have a Goshala somewhere and they got some milk to make some burfi. Vishnu likes burfi, no? I guess so. Who doesn't? I do. Krishna, he's holding onto the tails of the cows, he's hugging the cows, they're licking him, he's tapping their noses every evening when he's taking account of them. He plays a flute and he calls the group leaders of each group of cows. There's different color cows. There's reddish cows and chandan colored cows and black cows and white cows and reddish cows and spotted cows, and there's cows that have heads that are shaped like mridangas, mridanga mukhi guy, and there's a whole series of cows that have tilakdari guy, tilakdari. They have different tilak. They have Ramanandi tilak, they have Gaudiya Vaishnav tilak, they have Vallabhacharya tilak. No. Maybe, I don't know. It's just described that they have different kinds of tilak markings. When I joined ISKCON at 75, and I was initiated, I joined in Gaur Pranim by chance. It was a Wednesday, it happened to be Gaur Pranim, which I didn't know, but it was Gaur Pranim in 1975. And then I got initiated in Kartik, same year. By Prabhupada, first initiation, second in 76. So, it was preached to us and repeatedly preached to us all the time, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. Of course, that's the beginning. That's the first level of Aham, that I am Brahman, I am spirit, I am a spirit soul. And the second level Brahman is, first level Brahman, Aham realization is I am spirit soul. Second level is I am eternal. Third level is I am part and parcel of God, who is situated in my heart, Paramatma. Fourth level of Aham realization is that Paramatma actually has a personal feature, Bhagavan, Sri Krishna. That's the fourth level. That more than just being in my heart is Antaryami Paramatma, whom I am a part and parcel of, and who is eternal and eternal like me, and who is Para Brahman, and I am Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi. That's the four levels of Aham realization. And then the fifth level is that Bhagavan, that personal God, Bhagavan, who is the fullest expression and complete expression of that Bhagavan or that Paramatma in my heart, I have a relationship with him, Krishna Sambandha, Bhagavan Sambandha, and that relationship is one of master and servant. So this is the Bhagavan. And fifth is that I have a relationship with that Bhagavan as his servant. So when Lord Chaitanya is preaching Jivara Surupaya Krishnara Nityadas, he was immediately catapulting and elevating everybody up to the fifth concept, fifth level of Aham realization. The yogis and the jnanis, they're at the first level. At least the jnanis. The yogis are at the second level, or third level, you could say, Paramatma. But everyone's heard this Aham Brahmasmi. This is actually a sutra. Aham Brahmasmi is a sutra from Vedanta Sutra. Like we have Tattvamasi, Sarvakalvidam Brahma, and the very popular one, Soham. He and I and he. So means Saha. he. Then they often use this sutra in meditation or pranayama. Inhale and so exhale, hum. And they try to brainwash you when you listen to the sound of your inhalation, it's making the name so. So, when you exhale, hum, so, hum. I am he, I am that. I am God. Now let's consider line by line. So now I have a question. Why does Sri Krishna come? We're talking about the rasa dance and how beautiful it is and how the gopis, the subject matter of this verse is the glorification of Radharani's footmarks, and that they're so beautiful and so attractive that all the Sakhis are looking at them right during the rasa dance. So they could look at her footmarks anytime. But they look so beautiful then. At a time when you would think that every Sakhi would be completely fixed on Krishna, because this is the most intimate Leela, where all the rasas and bhavas are experienced there. This is the epitome of rasa. You would think that all attention would be on Krishna and on the Leela itself. But their attention is on Radharani's footprints. Radharani's always walking everywhere in Vrindavan, isn't it? And she's leaving her footprints in the soil everywhere. They don't have cement sidewalks and cement highways and asphalt, what do you call them? They don't have tar roads. But at this particular moment, the most intimate Leela, when they're directly with Krishna, their attention is not with the Leela or with Krishna, it's with Radharani's footprints. So before we discuss these different aspects, we ask the question, why does Krishna even bother to come to the material world and show this intimate pastime, the Rasa Leela? In the Puranas, they say that Krishna performed his Leelas to please his devotees. Very beautiful shloka. Mad bhaktanam vinodartam kromi vida kriya. Karomi vivida kriya. Mad bhaktanam vinod artam. Arta means for the purpose of, the wealth, the value, the objective, the art. Dharma. Vinod, what does it say? Vinod. Vinod means pleasure. Bhakti vinod, the pleasure. In other words, in English, this verse is saying that these vivida kriya, vivida means variety of pastimes or kriya. Lord Krishna comes to perform Rasa Leela the main reason is to please his devotees. To please us. We're his devotees and he gives pleasure to us. And Srila Jiva Goswami, in his commentary in the Bhagavatam and the Rasa Leela, he says, why? Jiva Goswami, the 6 Goswamis, Vande Rupa Sanatana Rugyugo. The main reason that Sri Krishna performed the Rasa dance, this is Jiva Goswami, who's the Tattva Acharya of the whole Gaudiya Sampradaya, was to please and satisfy the Braja Sundaris. The Puranas just says to please his Mad Bhaktanam. Mad Bhaktanam Vinodartam. Vinod, Bhakti Vinod, Radha Vinod. To give pleasure to the devotees. That's Bhaktanam, that means the generic, all the class of all the devotees. Then Jiva Goswami's Tika on Rasa Panchadaya, Adhyaya, 5 chapters of the Rasa dance, 10:29 through 33, he says, Braja Sundari Vinod. Specifically, he doesn't say, of course they're bhaktas, that's understood, that the param bhaktas of Krishna. But he's specifically singling them out, that Krishna comes, yes, he comes to perform his pastimes, like the epitome or essence of pastimes like the Rasa Leela, to please and satisfy his devotees, but specifically to please and satisfy the devotees known as the Braja Sundaris, the beautiful damsels of Vrindavan, who are Krishna's greatest lovers and greatest devotees. And then part of the verse, part of his tikas is Premavati Nam, Shri Braja Sundari Nam. Premavati Nam, Shri Braja Sundari Nam. Premavati, this Vati, Avati means there's a series of, or they're full of Prema, Premavati Nam. That Premavati Nam, who is that group, what is the name or Nam of that group of devotees that are filled with Prema? Premavati Nam, Shri Braja Sundari Nam. Who is that? Who are we naming here? Who are the Premavatis of Krishna? The Braja Sundaris. So this is Jiva Goswami. So what makes the Rasa Leela so special and attractive is that in this wonderful pastime, Well, this is an interesting point, because often the modern artists, the painters and the artists and the poets and the writers of literature, sahitya, they often depict the rasa dance in some type of erotic way, or try to show that Krishna is some type of lascivious or lusty and playboy or enjoyer. But the actual fact is that the rasa dance, and in this rasa dance, which is the quintessence of all Krishna's Braja Leela, because all of the other Leelas and all the other bhavas and experiences are compacted and compressed within it. There's Vatsalya Bhav in the Ras Leela, there's Madhurya Bhav, there's Sakya Bhav, Dasya. All the different flavors and aspects of those bhavas are being expressed in the concern and love and exchanges with Radha and Krishna. Radha and Krishna, all the gopis. Here on the banks of the Yamuna, they're representing in different aspects of that pastime, these different moods of nourishment, feeding him nice fruits after the rasa dance, nourishing like a mother would do, and protecting him, and so many things. So what makes it special and attractive about this wonderful pastime is that Sri Krishna and the gopis, they're completely dedicated to pleasing each other and giving each other the topmost happiness. Rasa Leela, therefore, is the finest example of pure love to be found anywhere in the entire universe. Rasa Leela in Vrindavan is the purest example of love to be found anywhere in the entire universe. Because first of all, you can't even find it in Vaikuntha. There's no such thing as dancing. It's considered something that they do, and that lower class human beings dance, Shudras. Even in cultured human society, a few hundred years ago in India, no one would dance. There's no such thing as a dance with men and women. Women may dance separately, or men in some village dances or traditional dances, but men and women dancing together is Vaikuntha. And generally it doesn't have, actually I stand corrected, there is no Rasa Leela even in Vaikuntha. Because I read a tika on the Rasa Leela. Even in the Swarga, where they really enjoy like anything, there's no Ras Mandal, Rasa Leela. There are kings like Indra, and there are Gandharvas, and the Apsaras, they dance, and Indra watches. But there's no rock and roll concerts and men and women dancing, or men and women spinning around in a circle or dancing together, Krishna arm in arm. Like there's no rasa dance there. Definitely not in Vaikuntha. There's no Julin. There's hardly anything there. Holy Julin, Jal Keli, Bandihar. This is the royal. Things like the king's palace is very formal there. So this is what's really being conveyed by the Rasa Leela. It's not an exposition of eroticism or a display of some immoral activities. It's actually the greatest display of pure love with God and His pure devotees, who are nothing more than His expansions. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitabis Tabirya Eva Nijarupataya Kalabi Goloka Eva Nivasatya Kilatma Bhuto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Nija Rupataya Kalabi. Kalabi means a part, a kala, Kalabi. Nija Rupataya. Nija Rup, Nija means your own, my own. These are my own forms. This is me. Like a husband and wife, they have a child. Is it immoral? Is it immoral if that father dances around the living room with his 8-year-old daughter? Or a 7-year-old daughter? The gopis were 7 years old in the rasa dance, and Krishna was 8. Is that considered erotic? An 8-year-old father is dancing with a 7-year-old daughter? What these lusty people, Atmana Manyate Jagat, the modern men, they want to project, yes, Krishna's lusty, he can't control his senses. Even there's pastimes in the Puranas, which they depict in the rasa dance, rasa performances, all these Raman boys in Vrindavan. And it's described in the Puranas how Krishna, Cupid personified Kandarpa Panchabana, or Panchasharai, the one who carries the 5 arrows of to incite lust by providing provocative sense objects. So the 5 arrows represent the most attractive rupam, form, and most attractive smell or gandha, the most attractive taste or rasa, and most attractive sound, shabda, and the most attractive sense of sensation or feeling or sense of touch, sparsha. These 5 arrows represent those attractive objects. And Kandarpa or Panchabana or Sharai or Cupid or Kamadev, we say Cupid, or Kamadev, we say Kamdev, he came with his arsenal, his flower bow and his flower arrows. He came to defeat Krishna, to fill Krishna with lust and defeat him because he was proud. There's 5 or 6 names for Kamdev. The Lord of material lust is Kamdev. Of course, our Krishna is the Aprakrita Navina Madan. He's described by Rupa Goswami as Aprakrita Navina Madan. And this is the pastime where he got this name. Aprakrita Navina Madan. Madan means Cupid, Kandarpa. Another name of Kandarpa is Damba, or Darpa. I think it's Darpa. Darpa is related to the word Damba. Darpa means proud. It means very proud. How did Kamdev get this name, being proud? Because he knocked off Shiva and he knocked off Brahma. Shiva, of course, is meditating after the sati, or the departure of his wife, who immolated herself at the Daksha Yajna and gave up her body, her external body, reappeared as a daughter of the Himalayas, Parvati or Himavati. And then she was worshipping him and meditating, and then she came to worship him in solitude while he was meditating. And then Cupid was there with his arrows, and he was trying to incite lust so that Shiva would break his dhyan or meditation and reunite again with his former wife Parvati and produce a son, because the demigods were being attacked by the demons. And it was foretold by maybe Brihaspati, the guru of the demigods, said if you can get Shiva and Parvati together again and they produce a son, he will be so powerful and courageous that he will rally all the demigods and rally all the demigods together and unify them in an alliance and defeat the demons so that are harassing them so vehemently. So then they hired Kamadev. They said, listen, if you can do this, we'll give you a big house in Hawaii. We'll give you a Maserati and, a gold card, credit card, unlimited line of credit. So he was pretty attracted to the proposal. No, he's always ever ready to go shoot his arrows at anybody. So he said, all right, I'll do the needful. And because it's a challenge. If say you're a kung fu champion, Bruce Lee, then there's the Olympic kung fu champion from India. And then he goes to contend with Bruce Lee. So Bruce Lee says, all right, let's go, come on. I'm ready. And then within 2 seconds, of course, the Indian hero is finished. Tahoe! Tahoe! He's gone, But every good fighter wants to fight, so Kamadev was ready to go, but as he's thinking, wow, I've knocked off Indra, I've knocked off so many demigods. If I can knock off Shiva, that's big. Put a big, wow. So then he went, and then he actually, although in the process of creating lust in Shiva, because he got burned up and he lost his body. He got another name, one of his 5 or 6 names, Ananga. No body, but he still had the power of acting. Then he got a blessing from sages and got his body back together. Not together. He got his body again, his external body. But he still holds that name, Ananga, because we don't really see him, but we see his effect. You don't see the wind, but you see the flag flapping on the flagpole. You look out the window, Must be windy, the flag is going like this. Although you don't see the wind, you feel it. You don't see some guy with arrows. When you go in the temple, you don't see some guy going around the brahmacharis. Then he sends in one of these Punjabi ladies. Oh, Bhagavan. Oh, Thakurji, please make my boyfriend nice. And they're praying like this. Then the brahmachari is like, shoo, wow. And she's not thinking of him at all. She's praying to Bhagavan to get a relationship together with her boyfriend in Friends Colony. And the brahmachari is like going crazy. And Kandharva is like, all right. It's like, he's like going this way, that way in the temple room. Like somebody getting shot, standing getting shot by an AK-47. It's pretty gruesome, but it's not. So he went and he shot Shiva, and actually he won. The acharyas say that actually he won. So he became, okay, he said, all right, I lost my body, but actually now the question, what is the proof that Kamadeva actually defeated Shiva? Shiva was meditating, Parvati was worshipping his and praying, "Oh Mahadev, you are my husband eternally. I am your Shakti, your Shiv, Shakti, Gauri, whatever, Hari, Hara, whatever. Gauri Shankar, you are my husband eternally, but now, you've forgotten me, you're absorbed, meditating on Shankarshan. But I've come to be united with you again. Please accept me." And so he's just lost in meditating on Sankarshan. And then, but somehow he felt some disturbance, and he opened his eyes and he saw behind a tree, Kamadev, and burned into ashes. But the acharyas, describing this pastime, they say, no, this is proof that Kamadev defeated him because he broke his meditation and became angry. He didn't become lusty. Because he's, he's what do you call it? Sheish, what do you call it? Sadashiva. He's Sadashiva. He's not Jiva Tattva. I mean, Shiva himself is Shiva Tattva, the expansion, but the origin of Shiva is Sadashiva, and he's Vishnu Tattva. Sadashiva is Vishnu Tattva. He's an expansion of Sankarshan. Sankarshan expands into Sadashiva. Sadashiva expands into Shiva, Shiva Tattva. Shiva Tattva at the time of destruction expands into 11 Rudras, which are depicted on the cover of the 5th canto. And these 11 Rudras, the little crazy, wild little guys, they dance and kick down the universe. And the origin, but Sadashiva, he's in Mahakal. Mahakal is between Vaikuntha and Satya and Brahmalok on the top side, called Mahakal. So Shiva, the acharyas say, he actually lost because he became angry. But he didn't become lusty. But so he said, okay, it's like Bruce Lee, he got a black eye, but he knocked the other guy out. Usually he never gets a black eye. The guy kicked him, so he got a black eye, but he knocked him. So he lost his body, but he got another one. But the fact remains eternally that he knocked off Shiva, so he became very proud. And he already knocked off Brahma because Brahma became lusty for his daughter under the influence. So now he's thinking, all right, I knocked off Mahesh, Brahma, only Vishnu is left. If I can knock off Vishnu, because Krishna is the 8th avatar of Vishnu, as everybody knows. Every dictionary will tell you that Krishna is the 8th avatar of Vishnu. Even the Puranas say that in some places. Because it's a long story, but he's not, of course. He's the origin of Vishnu. But he's singing, wow, so here he is at the rasa dance with his bow and arrow. He's going, oh my God, look at this, is perfect. I didn't have to do anything, because usually he brings so many arrows. One of his arrows is Ritubhana. Ritubhana is the arrow of spring. He brings spring season. First, he creates spring season, nice, beautiful, soothing, cooling, refreshing spring breezes. Then he has a Pushpabhana, fresh flowers start blossoming, so blossoming flowers are in the atmosphere. And then he starts, which are also, these are fragrance, flowers are fragrance and the moonshine. And then he says, but the ultimate weapon, what is the ultimate weapon of Cupid, which represents all the 5, he has 5 arrows, remember? Rupam, Gandha, Sparsha, yes? Panchabana, we already described that. So those 5 arrows are all contained in what? The form of a woe man. Woe man. There's man, and when he's about to go out the deep end, it's called woe man. Woe means stop, and when you're riding a horse, W-H-O-A or something like that. Woe means stop. So in the beginning there's only man. Eko Bahusham. Eko Bahusham. There was man, and then he was thinking, then he created this entity. He said, what should I call this entity? Well, I'm man, but this looks like a little trouble. Whoa. Okay, whoa man. So as soon as man looks at this other entity, then it's, whoa man, stop right there. Don't go any further. Just stay with the man and don't go to the woe. Because if you go to the woe man, you'll experience nothing but woe. W-O-E, which is the English word for duke, which means sadness, grief. Play on the words, W-H-O-A is pronounced, English is a crazy language, it doesn't work. Hindi, you spell it and pronounce it, everything the same because it's scientific. But English, W-H-O-A, woe. W-O-E, woe. 2 different meanings. S-E-E-C. S-E-A-C. One is the ocean that you see with your eyes. So you can see that English is a stupid language. So he has his bow and arrow, and he has the most beautiful women in all creation, the Braja Sundaris. Sundaris, beautiful ladies of Braj. And the moonshine and the spring breezes and everything perfect, the Yamuna, moonbeams and the music and the beautiful bodies and glistening under the moonshine and drops of perspiration on their faces, and they're heaving, their faces are flushed with red and they're full of anurag, and it's like, wow, like anybody would be out of their brains with lust, ready to enjoy to the max, and all these bushes and groves in every direction. And nobody in 1,000 miles. No husbands, no wives, no investigators, spies, cameras, etc. And so Cupid's going around like this, But he was afraid to be on the ground, because before he was hiding behind a tree, standing on the ground to get Shiva, and Shiva understood he's behind a tree, and he burned the tree, and he burned Shiva, and burned Cupid behind the tree. There's a picture of that. You see, there's a tree is burning. Cupid's behind the tree like this, and the tree is burning, and he's getting burned by the glance. I've seen paintings, Indian artists. So he was a little smart. He climbed up in a tree. He climbed up in a kadamba tree with his bow, his flower arrows, like a sniper. Sniper, the terrorist, it's called sniper. He stands in a building and shoots somebody innocently. So then he's waiting, and finally he's looking, and saying, my God, he's not, all these, in every direction, there's thousands, there's crores, there's millions and millions of beautiful women here. That would make the Swarga Devis, Ramba and Tilotam and Urvasi, they look like Bengali and Bihari dishwashers. Urvasi and Tilotam and Ramba, they look like nothing but Bihari dishwashers compared to these Braja Sundaris. And he's not the slightest bit lusty. He's completely in his control of his senses, mind, everything. Dhira Jana Priya Karo, Dear Lalita Krishna, Dear Prashant, Dhirodata, Dhira Datta. He's just carefree, he's enjoying, but he's not lusty. He's surrounded by women, he's not lusty. It's midnight, full moon. Moon means romance, right? Full moon. Oh, it's so romantic evening. Me. Oh, Pati, don't you feel romantic? No, I'm tired. I have to go to work tomorrow. No, you stupid. Not the least bit lusty. So is this any kind of ordinary affair? But what happened? It was a reverse effect. Because you know what they say in the Mahabharata, if you shoot an arrow, you shoot a mantra arrow towards your enemy. If it doesn't strike your enemy, it goes woo, comes back and hits you. It has to go somewhere. It has to hit a mark. It's like a boomerang. You throw it up and it comes back. It bounces back like a yo-yo. So he's looking, and then he's looking at Krishna. He wants to shoot Krishna. He's looking at these gopis. Come on, I got the most beautiful women. My arrows are nothing but these lusty. What you thought? They weren't lusty either. Women weren't lusty. And he just keeps looking at Krishna. He goes, wow, it's Krishna. So beautiful. I don't know what's happening to it. I can't take my eyes off. My heart is beating. I'm feeling faint. I'm perspiring all over. My hair is standing on end and tears are falling from my eyes. I don't know what's happening to me. I never had this experience before. I'm just looking at this Shyam Sundar, Vrindavan Chandra, Gopinath, Madhava. And then, I'm feeling, he's got his bow like this. I'm feeling faint. And he falls, he's in it 20 feet above the ground, he falls out of the Gandamaji. Boom! He lands on the ground on the beach. Fortunately it was sand, so he didn't break his legs. Or his bow. It's made of flowers. Pushpavana. Or Pushpa, whatever you call it. What's the bow called? Danu. Pushpadanu. Pushpadhanu. His flower bow. He's lying there. And Cupid himself looks like a young boy. He's eternal youth. The cherub, the angel, the Cupid, you see paintings. So they made it, and the gopis, I hear this big boom! Hey! What's that? Who is that? Is that Chatila? Something fell from the tree. What is that? And they ran over and they looked, and they said, no, it's not Chatila. It's such a beautiful form. And the gopis respect, is it, perchance, is this a demigod? Maybe this is a deva. He fell from his flower airplane. He's so beautiful, such lotus eyes and all flowers in his hair and beautiful long hair and has this beautiful flower bow and the expression on his face is unbelievable. He's like, he's stunned, his eyes are glued wide open, there's this huge smile on his face. As if he had just seen the most beautiful imaginable object in the entire creation. And of course he did. Shyam Sundar Bhagavan ki. And the gopis are all around. And then Krishna said, this is Kamadev. This is the god of lust. He's dead. So Krishna went with his hand like this. And he awoke. Transcendental Kamadev Sri Krishna ki. So from that day forward, Kamadev, who was previously known as Madan means Cupid. The word Madan is a name to describe the god of material life, Madan, because it comes from the Sanskrit word, it's derived from the Sanskrit word Mada. Mada means intoxication. Madness, because there's 5 effects. The arrows that Cupid shoots into the heart of the lusty man or woman, they create 5 sequential effects, akrama. And the first one is attraction, akarshan, then infatuation, karshan, infatuation, losing appetite, no dream. Forget, there's 5 stages. One of burning, intense burning, burning with intense desire to meet that woman or meet that man, and finally madness. The fifth degree is madness. So this is the ultimate effect of being struck by the arrows of Cupid. First there's infatuation. Wow, look at that. Whew. I'm infatuated. No, first is attraction. First is attraction. Attracted. Then you get infatuated, like, wow, infatuation means I can't forget. I become, then you see one day, and then about 2 weeks later, you don't see that girl, and you go to the temple and sing in the morning kirtan, 9 o'clock. Hey, wow, hey, that's that girl again. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Nitai Gaur, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Jai Nitai, Nitai, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. And then she says, oh, I don't have to work today. I think I'll sit down and listen to the kirtan. She's coming this way. Oh. And she sits down right there, 3 feet away from you, looking at Krishna, right in front of you. Now the test is on. Let's say the heat is on, cranked up. And then you tell if you're smart, you'll tell your Sankirtan leader, oh, Prabhu, I don't feel so well today. I think I better go take a powder. I better go to the brahmacharya ashram and recuperate. So you hightail it out of there. Dayato vishyam pumsam, sangas sangajayat, right? From contemplation of the object of the senses, one becomes attached. From attachment, lust arises. Now you're already contemplated, you're already attached, now boing. So, this is mada, the final stage. So the one who drives us crazy, makes us mad, is Kamadev, is this Madan. After this incident of the rasa dance, where Krishna defeated Madan, everyone knows he became known as Madan Mohan. Madan Mohan Bhagwan ki jai, Radha Madan Mohan ki jai, Sanatana Goswami Pad ki jai. But in Rupa Goswami describes that Krishna is a Navina Madan, Aprakrita, Navina Madan, Aprakrita, and Prakrit and Aprakrita. Aprakrita, Navina Madan. He is the transcendental new, ever fresh and new and youthful Cupid. And he is the personality we meditate in the Kam Gayatri, that transcendental Kamadev, who's shooting Pushpabana, he's shooting arrows of love and drops of prema into the hearts of the meditators on the Kam Gayatri. So he's there at the rasa dance. And this is all going on. And so this is why Krishna comes, to satisfy the devotees. Rasheshvara Sri Krishna Bhagavan ki, Rasheshvara Radharani ki, Premavati Braja Sundaris ki. Now we want to look at this line by line and see what we have collected over here. Kadasumani Kinkini. Kadasumani Kinkini Valaya Nupura Pralasam. Which means that there's some translation. We have some little notes we've taken. We'll just share. This describes the gopis' ornaments, which produce enchanting sounds, sweet and enchanting sounds, to increase the musical concert of the Rasa festival. The Braja Sundaris are wearing sashes of jeweled waist belts and bangles. And it's described here, it says, Nupura Prolasan. And very interesting. It's described that they're Nupura. Nupura means ankle bells. Nupura. Ankle bells. No, ankle bells. Nupura. But it says Prolasan. Ulas. Prakrishtarena Ulas. Prakrishtarena Ulas means Prolasan. Ulas. Ulas, as you know, means elation. They were delightful ankle bells because they were ringing the most. Because when you're dancing, what's moving the most? Your waist? Your legs and your feet. You see, like sometimes these dancers come. There's that one person that did that Krishna dance. So these feet, there's bells ringing around their waist, there's bangles ringing around their wrists, and of course they're moving also, different mudras, but not compared to the feet. The dancing movement, because this is the rasa dance, the most expertise in dancing is there, and that's one of Radharani's names, Gandharvika Radha Ki. Gandharvika means one who can sing and dance, and also means one who can make wonderful fragrances. It's very interesting. Gandharva, we have Gandharvas, everyone knows they're celestial dancers and singers, and Gandharvika are the female Gandharvas. So Gandharvika Giridhari is the name for Radha and Krishna. Gandharvika and the lifter of Govardhan Hill, Giridhari. Giridhari Shama Vanavari, Giridhari Shama Vanavari, Mero Radha Ramana Giridhari, Mero Radha Ramana Giridhari. Mero Radha Ramana Giridhari, Mero Radha Ramana Giridhari Shama Vanavari, Giridhari Shama Vanavari. Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jai 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 Shri Radhe. Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jai 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 Shri Radhe. Radhe 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 Radhe. Radhe 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 Radhe. Radhe 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 Radhe. Radhe Radhe Jai Shri Radhe. Radhe Radhe Jai Shri Radhe. Radhe 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 Radhe. Radhe 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 Radhe. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare. Radhe 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 Radhe. Radhe 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 Radhe. Radhe 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 Radhe. Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe. Jaya Krishna Jaya Krishna Jaya Krishna. Jaya Krishna Jaya Krishna Jaya Krishna. Jaya Krishna Jaya Krishna Jaya Krishna. Radhe 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 Radhe. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Gurudev, 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 Gurudev. Gurudev, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare.
Kanda pakoti kamonia vishesha shubham Govinda Hari Purusham Tamam Hariya Sasale Priyavi Tamanti Pashanti Banti Banti Shila Jagati Jala Vigrasya Govinda Hari Purusham Tamam
Sorry, no.
My wife. Oh, okay. Thank you, and saying greeting to her. It's very nice. Thank you. Good.
Esclarecer novos respectful obeisances, oculares to music to his feet, oculares to Paramkudeshla, Bhakti Dhira Damodara, oculares to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Guru, pray and trust we have to find and being the best we have today. And we wish you a blissful Vishwapancha correct. Separated Krishna, Sri Vishmadev, and all acharyas may continue to empower you always to be able to give us your unlimited costless mercy as you are giving us all this while. We are praying for steadfastness and determination and the ability to be able to, like you were saying today in yesterday's lecture, to be able to offer our heads in service to correct Krishna with full conviction, faith, sincerity. Just as Bhishmadev was fully loyal, devoted, determined, and exalted and firm in his devotion to Krishna, praying that he may bless us with such qualities so that we could be useful in service to Lord Krishna. Kindly request for your blessings and mercy to be able to fully participate in Bhashma Pancha correct. We know we don't have the strength. With later we're having lots of difficulties, bodily difficulties, ulcer and other effects. Trying, I'm hoping with the best of prayers and determination that Krishna may help me to be able to completely undergo this Vishnu Panchaka. So, with your blessings and mercy, we hope to be able to make this possible. Thank you so much for this every day. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Shambhadev. Also, we wanted to ask. Previously, we had this radio TV program, and the topic was on life after death. So, a question arose. I mean, not without words, but for myself. After going through because I had to prepare, I was going to the faith camp to what I had to and it is said that the lower planetary systems are called the subterranean heavens. So, in reading His glories and His splendor, it called me baffled. And if people who are engaged in big karma or are going to have this so-called heavenly pleasures in this lower vital system, then who are those who are meant to go to hell? Or what qualifies one to go to the subterranean heavenly planets? Are they not demons? And if they are demons, but why do they have such so-called material opulences? And it was said that their comforts sometimes it is called a subterranean planet because it sometimes even supersedes those of the upper planetary systems, the Shrakadokas. So I was a bit confused. I mean, those demonic, those with demonic tendencies are supposed to suffer hellish conditions. But why do they have such treatments? And I remember one time I came across focusing on that those who summon these demons, these beings to do their bidding. Now, in Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita that they also go to such, abode of such beings. But then we could see that those who summon these beings also do not usually, they bring havoc to the world. They don't really have the best of mentality. But why do they have to have such facilities? So I kind of had a doubt on that Shiva Gurdev. So if you kindly clarify that for us, Shiva Gurdev. Thank you so much. Another Shiva Gurdev, this afternoon, rather senior session, question I wrote should to Masaji regarding Bhakti Dhira explaining the difference between sex, desire, and lust and love. And I was having this question also. They say that in heavenly planets also they are town girls or prostitutes. And I remember somewhere I also read, I think in the Krishna book, that there were prostitutes who also came to Nanda Maharaj because he had when Krishna's naming ceremony was being born. That is in Gokul Vrindavan. So I was baffled that this is not so. It's not really a nice profession. But why do they have stay in Gokul Vrindavan? And today it also exists in Goloka Vrindavan. And also we've heard how these prostitutes, like in the life of Ajamila, how they are very destructive. In the life of so many sages and apsaras, they come to fall down from their meditation and all that. So with such dangers of having them around, and with the story of Harida Sakura also, Harida Sakura delivered the prostitutes, and she became Mahajan. She became a great soul. So how do we understand this phenomenon? What part do they play in Krishna Lila? And of course, we also hear of the Aboriginal girls in the Krishna book that when they see Krishna with Krishna's lotus imprints, they smash with their breast and to satisfy their last desires. Okay, so it gives an impression that there were such class of people in Gokul Vrindavan. So, really, please, how do we understand what is their position actually in Krishna Lila? And also, it being such a profession which is not so, so gentle, it is also seen that it is there in heaven. But then the heavenly beings are also they are also seen to be in mode of goodness. And this occupation is generally seen as in mode of ignorance. So Shabilo, please if you kindly explain that how this sex desire has to do in heavenly planets, especially within this profession as prostitutes, and why they also existed in Gokul Vrindavan with such kind of profession. Thank you so much, Dr.
Hare Krishna, devotees. Let me go for a Sunday Guru Puja and I'll see you later. Hari Hari Bol.